Hey you guys, it's me and I'm going to be giving you some vocabulary today. We're going to be starting a totally new unit. It's called the All About Me unit. So you're going to be learning how to talk about yourselves and also to describe other people. You're going to be learning subject pronouns. You're going to be learning two different verbs and a whole bunch of new adjectives and nouns. So it's totally back into the grammar root of our class. But the first thing that you're going to need is this little paper right here. And so it's the vocabulary notes for the All About Me unit. We'll go ahead now and go through the pronunciations of these nouns and I'll tell you what they mean. Then we're also going to go through the pronunciations of your regular adjectives. Now these regular adjectives are going to function exactly like the color adjectives that you've already learned how to do. I know we've made several charts on those, and in fact this chart, if you look closely, does contain the colors on the third page, but this is sort of a compendium for you to have in your notes. I have students in French 3 and French 4 that still use this guy every single day in French class, so you're definitely going to want to hang on to this guy. I'm going to go through the pronunciation of these with you, but just in the interest of time, I'll have Mrs. Grau go over the meanings with you. Let's go back to our nouns here. All right, so you've got your nouns. It's got a space here for you to write in the meaning in English, in Spanish if you prefer, or draw a picture if you prefer, some way for you to remember when you look back at that word what it means. Okay, so I've got it sort of set into two different categories here, just some very basic nouns that we're going to be able to use to make noun phrases and also to make some basic sentences with. So very exciting stuff. But we've got them categorized here into two groups, people at the top and animals at the bottom, some of our favorites. And these are, again, just, it's not every noun that you're ever going to need, but just some really basic stuff to get you started in this unit. Okay, so at the top, les personnes does mean people here, and it is a feminine noun. But we'll go ahead and go through some of these you might remember from the school unit. But all right, so I will pronounce the term, and I would like you guys to pronounce it after me. And if you need to pause the video and keep practicing, that's great. But I just wanted you to hear in French what they sound like. Okay, so in our first column, we'll go top to bottom, and then we'll go over to the second column. In the first column, our first noun is pronounced une fille. Une fille. And that means girl. If you think about the word in English for a young female horse, that word filly is very closely related to this word. In fact, they have the same exact root. So that's where we get the word filly from. So again, that word is une fille. All right, your second word there, un garçon. Un garçon. And that means, of course, boy. You may have seen in movies or TV or the internet where some people will use the term garçon to refer to a waiter. You see people at a restaurant setting and they say garçon to get the guy's attention. I can assure you a French waiter would spit in your food if you do that. So don't call them boy. But again, that word is pronounced un garçon. I'm sorry if I'm looking at a weird place on the screen. I'm not used to filming myself. This is all new to me here. All right, our third term along is une femme. Une femme. And une femme is a dual meaning word. It can mean woman. It can also mean wife. So if you think about it, that's a little bit weird that the word for woman and wife are the same word. A man could say, I have a woman, I have a wife, she's my woman, she's my wife. It's not like that for man and husband, though, of course. But again, that word is pronounced une femme. Right? The next word on the list is the opposite of une femme, and it is un homme. Un homme. You'll notice it's got that silent H at the start of the word. Anytime you have a word initial H, it's going to be a silent H unless it's aspirated, and we hardly ever see that. So if you were going to put the definite article with this and say the man, it would be l. So it's going to be elated. Un or l'homme. All right, and the again means man. It's a cognate to not English, but Spanish. It's a cognate to the word hombre, and even looks very similar as well. Okay, the next two words you already know from the school unit, un élève and une élève. And I know you guys will remember that those two words do mean student, as in a high school student or a pupil. Not a college age student. Once you get to that age, they call you un étudiant, une étudiante. But for your guys' level and younger, you would be called un élève, une élève. And of course, those nouns do begin with vowels, so you would elide in front of those as well with your definite article. All right, our next word on the list is un professeur. I know you guys know that word, un prof. It means teacher, and again, high school or younger age students. Once you get to college level, you're called by a different term. You're a maître at that point. But again, that word is pronounced un professeur. Un professeur, or of course you can say un prof if you prefer. All right, at the bottom of the first column, you've got the word une famille. Une famille. And this word reminds us that when you have a double L in French, it's just like in Spanish, and those two L's become a ya sound. So une famille, you've definitely got the ya sound. And une famille does mean family, just like it would look like in English. All right, so that's our first column. Let's go through and pronounce just the first column again. All right, we've got une fille, un garçon, une femme, un homme, un élève, une élève, un professeur, une famille. All right, that takes us through our first column there. On to our second lovely column. At the top, you've got some family member names, so going back to the famille. It starts off with une mère, and mère means mother. Our next word is un père, which means father. It's also what you call a priest. Like Father Joseph would be Père Joseph. Then you've got a kind of another pair of nouns. You have une sœur, and sœur means sister, and it's got a very special letter in it. I don't know if you can see it on your paper. It's got what we call the OE ligature. And a ligature is when you have two letters that are bound to one another and in fact become one letter. So if you were looking at, say, a crossword puzzle and the answer were cell, there would only be 4 blanks because the OE ligature is counted as one letter. So again, that is just pronounced une sœur, and it means sister. That's what you would also call a nun as well. The next word, again, the opposite of that word is un frère. Un frère. Frère means brother, and it's what you would call a monk. Un frère. You've got another pair of nouns, un ami and une amie. The word ami means friend. Un ami is a friend who is a guy, not necessarily a boyfriend, but just a friend of yours that's a dude. And une amie is a girlfriend or a friend that is a girl, a female friend. So again, those two are un ami, une amie, and beginning with vowels like they do, you would have lied with your definite article. And the very last two on this list of the people are another pair that go together. So you have un petit ami and une petite amie. Un petit ami is more specific than un ami. It does mean boyfriend. So a guy that someone is going out with, you would call him your petit ami. And une petite amie does mean girlfriend, as in someone that you're dating that is a girl. And you might be asking yourself, what is the adjective doing in front of the noun here? These are very special adjectives called bags adjectives. We've probably talked about them a little bit before, but BAGS is an acronym. It stands for beauty, age, goodness, and size. And a BAGS adjective will go before the noun, but you guys really don't have to worry about that too much at this point. We'll talk about it a lot in French too. But for now, if you come across one like this in a set noun phrase, just say to yourself, okay, it's all right, it can go in front of it because this functions as a noun by itself. You're not going to move the petit around. Another fun fact is the word petit ami could mean little friend, kind of like how your grandma might say, oh, who's your little friend? Yeah, so un petit ami, une petite amie. All right, let's go through and pronounce our second column here. It starts off with une mère, un père, une sœur, un frère, un ami, une amie, and un petit ami, une petite amie, une petite amie. All right, that takes us through all of our people. On to the bottom, we've got some animals, the definitely more fun things to talk about, right? Les animaux, you notice it is an irregular plural. Nouns in French that end in al, like animal, behave very similarly to the nouns bureau, tableau, and other nouns that end in eau. To become plural, the al drops off and you end up with aux. Don't worry, I'm not going to test you on that. Just a little fun fact about the word animal. When it becomes plural, it is animaux. All right, and so we've got just a few different kinds of animals here. In French too, you're going to get to do a big unit on animals where you will learn many different ones. But this is just enough to get us started for right now. And we'll start off with un animal domestique. Un animal domestique, and that simply means pet. If you look at it, it kind of looks like it might mean domesticated animal, and if you think about it, that's what a pet is. It's an animal that's been domesticated and stays in the house. And you see there I put the little caution sign to remind you that it is an irregular plural, as I just mentioned, and to go from being a pet to pets, plural, it would be les animaux domestiques. Les animaux domestiques. All right, then you've got my favorite personally, and also the favorite of Catherine and Grace. Un chat, And I bet you can't guess, but un chat means cat. And please note, I put a little caution on this one and the next one. Chat is always masculine. In fact, all animals will retain a gender designation for the noun that is separate from the gender of the animal itself. So, if I see a girl cat, I'm still going to call the cat le chat. Um, Even if the animal is female, otherwise, if you try to make that word feminine, it will become a dirty word. And I bet if you think really hard about it, you can figure out what that dirty word is, and we don't want to say that at school. So, again, that word is un chat. T totally silent to avoid sounding like the other word. All right, our next word is un chien. Un chien. And notice we really don't pronounce the N at the end at all because we're careful for one reason. Also, we don't want to say the dirty version of this, which I bet, again, you can figure it out. If the animal is female and you try to make it a female noun, that can sound pretty dirty. So just pronounce it un chien. Keep your mouth open at the end and you'll be safer that way. Un chien. Even if it's a girly dog, you can refer to the animal as she, but if you say the word dog, you're going to make it masculine. All right. Then 3 more animals and we are done with this. All right. The first one is un poisson. Un poisson. Un poisson is a fish. You gotta be really careful with that noun and make sure you put 2 S's in it because without it, just like in English, the word would be poison. And who wants to have a pet poison? Like nobody. So, un poisson. And that's any kind of a fish, angelfish or clownfish or I don't know what kind of fish you have in your fish tank, but any fish, or if you have lots of fish, they would be les poissons. But to be a little bit more specific, if you're talking about a goldfish, that's going to be your next word, un poisson rouge. Un poisson rouge. Now, if you think about that, un poisson rouge, that would mean a red fish, which is pretty interesting. In English, we think of it as being gold. It's orange or yellow or golden color. But culturally, the French look at that animal and say that it is red. Just an example of how nouns can have different perceptions from different cultures. So, un poisson rouge does mean goldfish. And our very last one, the kind of pet that I know you would like to have, is un dinosaure. Un dinosaure. And I bet you can't guess, it means dinosaur. It is a perfect cognate to English. The reason I threw that one in is just so that we can make some fun noun phrases and sentences using it because, hey, everybody wants to have a dinosaur as a pet. And, with Jurassic Park and everything, people are always talking about them, so there you have it, un dinosaure. All right, let's go through and pronounce all of the different animaux, and we will be done with the noun part of this. So again, let's pronounce these. Un animal domestique. And we'll pronounce the irregular plural as well. Les animaux domestiques. Les animaux domestiques. Note that we are making a liaison in between les animaux. We made that Z sound in there and it becomes les animaux. All right, our next one, un chat. Un chat. Then you got un chien. Un chien. Un poisson. Un poisson. Un poisson rouge. Un poisson rouge. And last but definitely not least, un dinosaur, un dinosaur. All right, that concludes our lesson on these nouns. I'll give you guys some time to look at these and then we'll come back and look at adjectives in just a moment. Thank you.